Welcome back to AMA Collectibles, guys. I'm here with the news deck profile for you today. For today's deck profile, we'll be talking about the new Charlotte build with its new support that just came from the recently released anniversary key set. This deck now is a lot more better than it was before, and but it also got a lot more expensive than it was before as well. But we'll talk about that later. For now, let's just get right into the deck profile. So we're going to start off with the 2 Ayumi Oversize. More recent builds have actually started running this at 3. So what it does is mill 2, on play mill 2, if it hits a climax, this card is rested, and hand encore has the second effect. So the reason why I don't run 3, on more recent builds have started running around 3 or 4, but I feel 2 is enough. For one thing is that the mill 2, so in my experience, though, when I mill 2, I tend to hit my climaxes. So it would be really counterproductive for me to play this card and have it do nothing for the turn. So having 2 is just fine in my experience. However, it is still a really big card. It's powers at 3/5 is really respectable. It gets over a lot of things, and has hand, of course. It will stay on your board for quite a while as long as you have the hand for it, though. So yeah. Next up, we have the two Yusas. So on play mill 2, if you hit a climax, you can your opponent mills the top card of their deck, and you can choose a card in the waiting room and stack it back on top of the deck. And the second effect is ditch a climax to salvage a character. So this card is one of the new cards from the anniversary key. This card is really good, actually. For one thing, you'll be playing 8 pants in this build. So having a spare, you'll definitely be having spare pants in your hand. So this card's another way to make use of those extra pants in your hand, so you can just salvage back any character you like. And if you do hit the climax on the mill 2, you can actually potentially stack a guaranteed 1 damage. That is, if you don't overswing. But yeah, it's a good card. I run 2. 2 is fine. Next up, we have the 3 Yusarins. So on play, look at the top 2, put it back, rearrange in any order. And the second effect is pay 1, ditch 1 to, I believe, is to search your deck for a character, I believe. Yes, search your deck for a character. Drop search, basically. So this card has a lot of utility. The on play look up the top 2 is very, very useful, and so that way you can actually plan your triggers for your attack phase. And if let's say your top 2 isn't that great, you can actually just use the drop search to just search your deck for a card and then reshuffle it and hopefully not hit the climax trigger this time. So yeah, I run 3 because I think information is power. So because the top 2 is really, really good. I mean, for all the decks I run, I always have at least I would always run a card that at least lets me like look at the top 2 or look at the top of my deck, because you know, the more information you have, the better. Next up, we have the 3 brother sister. Forgot their names. I know she's pizza sauce, but so when this card's damage is canceled, this goes to stock, and you may pay 1 and ditch a climax to salvage a climax. So this is the main way to grab your specific climax. And the fact that since you are playing 8 pants, you might be stuck with pants that you don't need. So it's a good way to. So the second effect is a good way to salvage the pants that you do need, either for your level 1 combo or for your level 3 combo. So yeah, and also when this damage gets canceled, it goes to stock. So that's just more resources for you. So yeah, it's either that or they eat damage. So either one is fine. But run 3. I run 3 at least. It's a decent card. All right, next up we have these 3, the infamous, very infamous and also very expensive Pizza Sauce Ricky. So on play, you may send the top card of your opponent's stock to waiting room, and you may choose a card in their waiting room and stack it on top of their stock. And the second effect is it's a Ricky, level 1 or lower. So this card is extremely powerful due to the fact that the first effect is an on-play effect with no cost. You can literally just like stack your opponent. You can basically make your opponent's clean stock dirty stock. Although it is, they can probably just pay it off next turn, because it only replaces the top card of their stock. But let's say if they're close to a refresh, you can actually like do some shenanigans, like, oh, you can take one climax from their waiting room and stack it onto their stock, and then just push them to refresh, and they'll be refreshing with less climaxes in the deck. So this is one reason why this card is extremely powerful and also extremely expensive. This is not a cheap card. And also, level 1 Ricky helps you find your level 1 combo, or you can find other your level 0 utility cards, which is also great. So yeah, I run 3 cause budget. Next up, we have the 3 U anti-burns. This card is also another infamous card from the first set. So on reverse, when this card gets reversed, you may pay 1, send this to memory, and ditch a card to search your deck for a character. And the second effect is a recollection. And this card's in memory, you and your opponent do not take any damage from auto effects. This is an anti-burn for you and your opponent, and this card is insanely powerful. And it's not just any anti-burn. It's not just like the Kimono anti-burns where it's just like, oh, you can't take one ticks and stuff like that. You just don't take any burns, period, or any damage for auto attacks, period. So no Musashis, no Yamis, no Marikas, if you no Marikas for sure, or in like any form of burn damage from auto effects. Nothing. You don't take any. You and your opponent don't take any damage. It is a dead trait for you, but luckily for me, this build doesn't run any burns, so which is great. So, but you can still use other ways of finishing, like clock kicks or stock kicks and stuff like clock kicks and stuff like that. So yeah, this card is absolutely good. If anything, 3 might be overkill. To be completely honest, 3 might be overkill. But I kind of want to make sure that. But since this deck is about stalling, you kind of want this in memory as soon as possible. At least 1 in memory as soon as possible. So there's nothing wrong. I feel there's nothing wrong with running 3. And plus if you get all 3 in memory, it's a 3-card compression for you. So it's not bad. Next up, we run the 3 Yusa Brainstorms. This card is from the new set. And this card saved the entire set, literally. For one thing, it is a better Brainstorm than the set 1 Brainstorm. The set 1 Brainstorm was really, really wonky. It basically gives, so if you hit the Brainstorm in the first set 1 Brainstorm, if you hit the Brainstorm, you give your characters on reverse, I believe, search 2, ditch 1, I believe. But for this card, it's just a regular search, tap self, pay 1, tap self, search Brainstorm. And if you trigger a climax, you can give 1k power, I believe. Oh, I'm sorry, it's not. So if your other characters battling characters get reversed, you can give 500 power to someone, which is not bad actually, because you'll be actually reversing a lot here. For one thing, this saved the entire deck. I mean, this saved the entire set. I would say I wouldn't think it saved the entire set completely, but it does give that big consistency boost that Charlotte desperately needs. Because back then, consistency was quite of a problem. And also, the Brainstorm was really wonky as well, so sometimes you need an on reverse, and sometimes you might not get the reverse, so you end up just wasting a stock and milling cards for no reason. So, yeah, I mean, milling cards is great, but you want to do something. You want to get something out of that, right? So, yeah, I run 3. 4 is a little too much. I might run 4, but I think 3 is a good number for me now. And finally, for the level 0 roundup, we have the 2 level 0 nows. Rest this card, you can give 1500, I believe. Yes. Rest this card, you can give 1500 to any anniversary or a trait character. And first effect is when this card, when you trigger a Pants climax, you can draw 1 and ditch 1. So it is a hand fix every time you trigger Pants. So this card is really great because let's say you trigger too much Pants and you have too many Pants in hand, so you can actually just pay off you can basically just ditch you can just draw a card and ditch off the extra climaxes you have in hand, because you're gonna be triggering a lot with this build, at least to say. So this having 2 is fine. Also, extra 1500 power for more push, for more power, able to get over things. It's really good for your level. It's really important for your level 1 game as well. So yeah, good card. And that's it for the level 0 lineup. We're gonna start with the level 1 lineup now. So level 1 lineup, we have the main level 1 combo of the deck, which is this now. So this is from the new key set as well. If you have 2 or more other anniversary or ability user characters, and you have the climax on attack, on attack, you may look at the top 3. You may choose a card, and you may choose a character, reveal it, and add it to your hand. And then this card gets 1500 until the end of your turn. This card is basically an Amelia. It's basically an Amelia. It's just a more nerfed version of Amelia, but it's still powerful nevertheless. This card can go up to 7-5 with Climax and its own pump. Potentially even further if you have this here, if you pump more power with this here. And yeah, it's just a great way to mill through the deck. Great way to look to grab cards you need and stuff like that. So yeah, very powerful card. And also, it's also a proper level 1 combo. I forgot to mention that set 1 didn't have great level 1 combos. So this one here, basically it's going to be the main level 1 combo for a while. For this Charlotte deck specifically. I don't know about the other level 1 combo, which is like I believe it's a Shimakaze, I believe. But this one here is probably the more superior choice over because of the fact it's a non-interactive. It's a non-interactive plus. So yeah, and it gets over things. So that's nice. Next up, we have the 2 level 1 now promos. This card is actually also very good. So you do play 8 pants, and you're probably good at pants at some point. So usually, if you have extra pants, this card's another way to ditch the pants, and it gives itself. Let me clear this up. So on play, you can ditch a Climax, and this card gains the ability to when this card's battling opponent gets reversed, you may draw a card. So it's kind of hand fixed to say. I mean, you can easily get this very high. You can probably get an easy reverse with this card, as long as you have the this here to pump it with power, and also the brainstorm too. But yeah, honestly, I chose this card because in my experience with the deck, I do end up clogging my hand too much with Climaxes. So this is a nice way to replace my Climaxes, with another draw if I do potentially get the reverse off. The only downside to this is that I need a reverse for this to get the draw off though. So yeah, run 2 though, but it's also a 5k as well. So it's not the power is pretty decent. It's able to get over most things anyways at level 1 at least. And next we'll be playing the 2U 2k counters and the one Yusa anti-change counter, anti-change sack counter. I believe this sack counter. Yes, this is a sack counter. So for this here, it is a pay 2 sack counter at level 1. This card is really, really good. This deck needed some form of sack counter. The deck needed a form of early play killer, and this is one way to do it. This card is also very good against standby builds, because I think I like Fujimi, who has that level 2 card that gets really big with back row, and this card here is able to get rid of that card. Though then again, if you're playing against standby, they'll probably just standby back next turn. But at least they'll have to actually try to get another standby to get it back in though. So yeah, this card's actually really good. Not bad. Helps you, and it's at level 1 too, so you can use it at level 1, which is absolutely great against early standby plays. And also the 2k counter just to keep your nows alive in case you want to keep your level 1 combo nows alive in case you have the Climax again and you want to use it again next turn. So yeah, that concludes the level 1 lineup. Starting off with the level 2 lineup, we have the 1/2/1U free fresh. So this free fresh there's no specific requirement, I believe, to do the free fresh. Yeah, there is no hard. I mean, in my experience, when I use refreshes, they have like some sort of requirement saying like, oh, you need 5 or less in your deck. This one here, you just gotta pay 1, ditch 1, and you can just refresh. Pay 1, ditch 1, free fresh, and then you may take the top card and put it onto this card as a marker. And when this card gets a marker, it gets 1,000 power, I believe. Yes, it gets 1,000 power. So honestly, the first effect's irrelevant. You're only running this for the free fresh. So yeah, there's not really much to say. You only run it for the free fresh, and you can use it without. Well, the marker thing is kind of meh. If you end up markering it, it's kind of a 1 card compression, I believe. But if you hit a Climax, then that kind of sucks. But it's fine though. The whole point is main reason you want this for free fresh, and that's it. So yeah. Next up, we have the 2/1 green stock swap event. Cause I want to win games. And this card is a really cheap card to. It only costs 1 stock. However, it is an event, so it's not searchable. You have to draw into it. So, and also I don't want to run too many of these because it does clog. So, I've done too many of these. So run is perfect, and this card can be a game changer if your opponent decides to be a good player and start getting clean stock out of nowhere. And this is one way to punish that good play. So yeah. And next up we have the 2 U level support and 2 level support. I wouldn't say level support. It's just 2 1 assists. So for this one here, this gives a specific level 3 hexproof, which is this now here. It also gives the now, I believe, power. So it gives it, oh yes, it gives 1500 power, and it gives, so it gives this specific now 1500 power and hexproof, which makes this unkillable. Makes it unkillable. It also gives level 3s up front, in front of this card 2k power. So if you have these on the field in front of it, this gains an effective 3-5 power, making this a 13-5. If you have both of it in your back row, and if you have both in your back row and you're now in the middle, this thing is now a 17k. 17k with double hexproof, meaning that they have to get rid of these 2. Can't be balanced, can't be can't be chosen for sack counters and all, or any of that shenanigans. And it's still susceptible to clock swap, to clock kick still, but it will be way too high to get clock kick anyway. So yeah. And this card literally just, it's a good card. Although, like, unfortunately, I don't want to run 2, but I felt like I had to run 2. Because sometimes, like, I want to keep these alive as long as I can. And for most cards sets nowadays, they tend to get really big. Or there's some sort of gimmick to it. Some sort of gimmick that actually gets rid of it. Which is alright, but I don't know. To me, though, I felt like running 2 felt necessary. Honestly, getting 1 out is enough, but I have to give me that peace of mind when I play level 3 game. I try to get at least 2 of these out. That way I can like protect my level 3 nows. I can just stall all day at level 3, and yeah. And plus, it makes my nows nigh unkillable. So yeah, it's a great card, but I just wish I didn't have to be forced to play 2 of these though. I mean, I probably don't have to play 2, but I felt like I need to play 2. So, yeah. Alright, starting off with the level 3 lineup now. We're almost there. So, we have the 3 Ayumi early plays. Not much to say about this card. I believe it gets power, as long as I have 2 other... it gets 1000 power if gets 1000 power with 2 other characters. This gets -1 level in hand. You have 2 climaxes less than waiting room, and it heals. It heals. That's basically it. That's all it does. It's just a standard early play. Something to do when you're at level 3 or you're at level 2, you know. So, yeah. Now for the main level 3 of the deck, we have the 4 level 3 nows. So this card, before this card was a way to stall, but it had a really weird effect where you have to have the climax in hand to stall. So first effect is when this card attacks, you reveal the top card of your deck. If it is a ability user character, add it to hand. And second effect is at the start of your opponent's attack phase, you may ditch the specific climax. In this case, the climax is this, and the climax is this. And you can search your deck for a character, add it to hand, and and then you may choose a character across from this card, and then it gives it the ability to not be able to front. So no front. It sounds familiar, doesn't it? It sounds like this sounds kind of familiar, doesn't it? From a recent set that just got banned. I mean, it just does it differently though, but you get the idea. This deck is all about stalling. You're trying to get 2 out, and you just stall for days at level 2. I mean, I'm sorry, not level 2, level 3. And you just stay alive and just vanilla swing for days. And usually when you vanilla swing, you'll probably win the game anyways. But yeah, with the new set, with the new recent support, extremely powerful now. Because for one thing, you're playing 8 pants. You're gonna play 8 pants with this build. That means you'll always be having at least 1 or 2 of this specific climax in your hand always. So you're always gonna... Your opponent's not gonna do any damage with 2 characters unless they have some sort of character that ignores side attack penalty. I'm looking at you, Data Live. So yeah, this card is absolutely insane. for one thing, it compresses your deck even further. It compresses your deck on attack. It also compresses further when you use the climax combo. So you'll just cancel more often, even if they do, even if they do end up swinging over and still hitting for some damage though. But yeah, and also this gets really big with the 2-1 support, with the 2-1 assists as well. They can go up to, like, I believe. Well, if one now's in the middle, then they're going up to 17k, which makes it really freaking high. And also if you decide to play 3 at once, then the 2 nows over here would be like 13.5, which is still pretty powerful. It's still pretty high in itself. So yeah. Yeah, so good card. Also, this card went up in price too. It's just a little fun fact. This used to be a $7 card, not anymore. It's a $50 card now, I believe. Yeah, and finally we have the one finisher, or I guess I'll say our primary finisher of the deck. For this card though, although I don't use it that much though, but what it does is, for every other, I believe for the first effect, for every other character, it gets a Taige pump. You get 500 per other character. Second effect is a coin flip. It's a coin flip type finisher, which is kind of, I don't like that, but it's the only way it's the only way to finish your opponent off. So the second effect is when you play, you may reveal the top card. If it is a character, this card gains the following ability, and when this card's battling opponent is reversed, you may send that to clock. So it's a coin flip clock kick, which is kind of awkward, but at least it's a clock kick, and it's not affected by the U anti-burns as well. It's the only way to get around the, I'm sorry, trying to find it here. It's the only way to get around the anti-burns, because the thing is, you and your opponent don't take burn damage and don't take damage from auto effects. So it's the only way to get around this. It's the only way to finish it off, because if your opponent can't finish you off, you gotta try to finish them off first with this. But it is kind of sacky, although I don't really use this much though. I don't really use this much. If you're going to run a build something similar to mine though, I would recommend putting at least one of these in, because it's the only way to go around the U anti-burns anyways. So yeah. The third effect is irrelevant, because we don't run the climax for this deck. It's basically just, I believe it's just a heal. Just heal 1 though. But anyways, yeah, one way to get around the U anti-burns. It does clock kick, but it just requires the top check. As long as the character, you have the clock kick. But sometimes you whiff, which is not ideal. So like I said, I don't like having to put cards on the field without having to do anything. So yeah. And finally, and obviously I have stated it a lot throughout the video, 8 pants, cause we can. So you're always gonna have either or of the climaxes anyways if you run 8 pants, and it's also able, if you trigger too much, then the this here, the hand fix, the pants hand fix would probably fix that for you. So yeah. And that's it for the video, guys. I do also want to discuss one thing about this set, though. For those of you who do want to play this set, I would recommend. If you really like this set, go for it. I mean, it's a very strong set now. It's a very strong deck now. I would say it would be, in my opinion, I would say it would be A tier in some tier list, if you would like to say that. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed the video. Leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Leave a comment if you have any opinions about this build, and yeah, or leave a comment if you have any questions, and we'll try to answer them as much as possible. And yeah, and we'll see you in the next video. Laters.